So coming up, we have Josh Jones, and pretty much every question I ask him, he said, video games. I make video games. Yeah, experimental video games. And he said he could kick your butt at Smash Brothers.
All right, so to start off, I want to do an experiment with all of you. We're going to play this game called Speak Shape. There's going to be these dotted shapes on each of the slides throughout my speech. And when you see one, if you're sitting where a dot is, then raise your hand. If you're not, don't. Since it's kind of dark, you could do a cell phone too if you want, but those are supposed to be off, I think. I don't know. So yeah, but the end goal is, if you didn't get it, the dots are seats in the audience. So everyone right now that's on the front row, back row, or the side, raise your hand. There you go. Awesome. All right. So just keep watching those, and I'll try to keep count, and we'll see if we can win the game. So I told myself if I ever had 5 minutes to talk to the world that I'd say a couple things about love. The first one is, if you really love someone, if you really love something, then you think they're cool. The second thing is, first assume they mean you no harm. I think that a lot of strife and problems in your life would go away if you just make sure that they are actually trying to hurt you before, it's just misunderstandings can be bad. Anyway. All right, so software. This is a game called I Wish I Were the Moon, and it's a great game. You're like taking pictures with the mouse, and it's very impressive. But the software element that I wanted to get out to those that are really into software is that this guy says to his customers, give me a design and pay me, and I'll make the game for you. And I love that distribution model because you can't pirate it. All right, see, we got a triangle. Nice, nice. So experimental gameplay, what is that? It's a game that shows you an experience, gives you a mechanic, new and interesting input that you've never seen before. It's not like a regular retail game. This is the Halo franchise, And I'm not seeing any circles. Oh, there we go. Nice. The reason I love experimental gameplay so much is because it's not like a franchise. I pretty much know what's going to happen in the next sequel to that game. But with experimental games, I don't. I love it because I never know what's going to come next, and it's always a new experience for me. Experimental games aren't indie games. Indie games just mean that they weren't made with a publisher backing them. And they're not art games exactly. This is an art game. This is called Passage. In this one, you move from left to right, whether you want to or not, and you grow older. And it's a great commentary on life. It's this wonderful interactive experience by Jason Rohr. You just check that one out. But some art games are experimental, like this gray one here is called Every Day the Same Dream. And he does a lot of experimental mechanics. But some games are just beautiful works of art, like Shadow of the Colossus down there, which you can just say, look, that's art. All right, so here are some of the people behind experimental gameplay. This is a shot from the Game Developers Conference, which I go to every year. And this session is the Experimental Gameplay Workshop. It's run by a guy named Jonathan Blow. And he showcases experimental games each year during that. This is another place. This is a website where you can go throughout the year to check out experimental games. It's called the Experimental Gameplay Project, and it was started by 4 guys that made 50 games in 1 semester. And you may have heard of some of their games. This is basically the Japanese version of the Experimental Gameplay Workshop, and they have a lot of good presenters there. The guy on the end there is named Kyoshi Shin. I meet up with him every year. He's the IGDA chapter coordinator, and I'm the Salt Lake City chapter coordinator. So here are a bunch of experimental games. I wanted to go through all of these and show them all to you and show you what makes each of them so awesome, but I don't have time for all of these, of course. So I picked out 3 really quick to show you. This one's by John Cooney, and it's a great introduction to experimental gameplay. If you want to try this one out, it's just an online, quick and easy flash game. And in this one, he basically throws a bunch of different experimental mechanics at you and changes the rules on you as you go through it, and it's really cool. This one blew me away when I first played it. It's by a guy named Yoshio Ishii, and the core concept is you play through with your previous playthroughs, and you probably have to play it to understand, but it's really amazing. And then finally, we have We the Giants by Peter Groeneweg. And in this one, you go through, you get to the last room, and you become part of the statue. And then you find out that every other part of the statue is someone that had played the game before you. And so it's really interesting. And let's see if we... I'm not seeing any heart, really. So I think that experiment was a failure, but we can try. Keep trying. That's the thing. These are all the people in the scene that I really love. That's cactus up there, and this is his autograph that he gave me when I met him after he got the Nuovo Award at GDC. He's a really great guy. And that's it. Follow me on Twitter or whatever. Check out all these great events, and you can come talk to me afterwards about experimental games. Thank you.